Thanks for tuning in to First Priority Heritage's first video message of 2021. I'm Steve Dismute. I just want to wish you a happy new year if you haven't already heard that from me already. And I hope you had an amazing New Year's season, sometimes with food and family and rest if you had that opportunity. As we just came off celebrating Christmas, some of you celebrate Hanukkah and you are the light in the darkness, which is amazing. But just sharing Christmas, the birth of Christ. For me and my family, for many years, we didn't do it this year, but we'd actually have a birthday cake and we'd sing Happy Birthday to Jesus. So it was pretty cool. Didn't get a chance to do that this year, but just celebrating the birth of Christ in this season. It's always a magical season. It's always an amazing season. So I hope that you've had good fellowship and good food and just a little time off during the last couple of weeks. And First Priority Heritage, we just want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I just want to touch base with you, as I will every single year, just kind of let you know what went on in 2020. So for us, we're going to do it by school year. So for us, it would be 2019 to 2020 school year. Just kind of update on that. So the 2019-2020 recap, First Priority had over 883 schools involved with First Priority. That's 883. Out of those 883, we had 3,636 student missionaries trained to be able to share their testimony, to share the God story. And we had over 7,924 students respond to the God story that made a commitment to Christ. So those are just huge numbers for last school year. For us, we had 18 schools that were active in the program. And we received the award for the #1 school participation program out of all United States. Out of 22 states, out of 883 schools, we had one of the #1 programs in the United States, which is phenomenal. Now, I know that some of us have been discouraged for the last 6 months. We couldn't be in schools and we were doing a lot of virtual programs. But let's just look at First Priority as a whole. Let's look at the last 10 years just to kind of let you know the ministry and how impactful it is to United States or community. The last 10 years we'd have over, and they keep these records in Nashville, over 50,000 student missionaries trained to share their God story or their God testimony. We had over 50,000 students trained. The last 10 years we've had over 90,000 students acknowledge the gospel of Christ. 90,000. I don't know too many ministries out there that are reaching 90,000 students that are making confession of faith to Christ. So those are some amazing stats, amazing numbers, and I know we get discouraged sometimes. First Priority, we are still reaching students. They're still making their confession of faith. We've just had a temporary shutdown of schools, but that doesn't stop God. That doesn't stop His ministry. That doesn't stop the gospel of Jesus to reach students. So First Priority Heritage, at the beginning of each year, we're going to kind of pray about it and look at what's the next year bring, what's the next 5 years bring. Not that God is not in control, can't change and amend it, but just for us to better prepare ourselves in this ministry as we move forward. So in the next 5 years, I would like to see that the program, First Priority Heritage would like to see us go from 18 schools to 25 schools to make sure that students are able to share the message, the hope of Christ, to every school in Lincoln County, Boyle County, Mercer County, Garrett County, and any surrounding counties that are connected to us. So for First Priority Heritage, we want to make sure that we have student-led ministry in every single school in our community. We want to make sure we have at least 250, it's only 50 students per year, student missionaries. So it's at least 50 more student missionary leaders trained each year to share the hope of Christ. And we want to make sure we have an outreach to at least 100,000 people on a weekly basis. Not just we hit it one time, but if every student is reaching every student leader is reaching every student, that they impact their families at home, grandpa, grandma, friends, relatives, that we make sure we engage and reach 100,000 students or 100,000 people each and every single week. So that's kind of our goal setting for the next 5 years. So let's look at really what is the 2020 to 2021 school year look like. And let me say this little quote for you. Great leaders don't just create followers. Great leaders don't just create followers. Great leaders create great leaders. So if we have student missionaries in schools, we don't want them to just create followers. Yes, we want to hear the hope of Christ, but we want them also to create great leaders. When Jesus was here And he said, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to make you fishers of men. He has the 12 apostles, and he teaches them. There were disciples, students, and then they became apostles, which are teachers. So Jesus trained the students to be the teachers. So those teachers can go out and teach and preach and share the hope of Christ. And that is what First Priority is about. It is about creating and mentoring great leaders to produce great leaders and taking the hope of Christ to everybody in our community. So we've had a temporary solution to this. We thought it was a short-term program. We thought we'd be back in schools in January. So we went virtual. And so we got a hybrid program, which are both virtual, and when some schools are in person, and some are meeting after school in the back of pickup trucks and trying to meet in skating rinks. And so we had a temporary solution to what we thought was a temporary problem, and now we're kind of looking like that students not being able to be physically, personally in schools is extended, and for some students aren't going to even go back to school this month. Everything's virtual right now, and it could even progress to the end of the year. So we're going to start looking at how do students take the hope of Christ to students if we can't be back in the schools this year. Now, we're forecasting that we'll be back in school next year, starting August. But what do we do in the next 6 months? How do we mentor and raise students to lead other students this year? So let me start off with this quote. In 2020, sometimes you can win and sometimes you can learn. And so for the last 6 months, I think we've been in learning mode. Sometimes you learn, so we've been learning. So the next 6 months, I think this will be the win. So sometimes we're going to win. Let's win for the next 6 months, win the hope of Christ to students, and take what we've learned the last 6 months to make us better at sharing the gospel of Christ. So what does it look like? We really want to take a step back and see where things are progressing and how we're going to be able to engage students and how we're going to be able to move forward and how we're going to be able to share the hope of Christ. And I hope that we can be in person in February. But until then, until we're actually be able to be in person in February, for our elementary schools, campus coaches and facilitators, I just continue to be engaged with the students, to build personal relationships with the students. And the biggest thing for you right now is making sure everybody gets registered to promote student signups through our websites and online. Because the more students we can get signed up, when we do get to see face-to-face and we do get to be in person, that's the more students that we'll be able to reach the hope of Christ with, to share the gospel of Jesus. So kind of your goals right now is to share the hope of Christ, to be able to do that, to get as many students signed up as we can, and to get ready to have full person-to-person ministry, hopefully in February. But continue your personal relationships. And if there's that one special student, you got that third grader, fourth grader that just loves Jesus and you know is going to be a leader, start grooming him, start working with him, so that way then they get to the junior high level. Let's say they're fifth grader now. Let's groom them so when they're sixth grader, they'll be able to share and take the hope of Christ and be one of the leaders in those schools. So just invest in them as much as you can. For our junior high and senior high, we have an awesome opportunity right now, and we're going to talk about it at our next meeting this Sunday at 4 o'clock. We're going to have our monthly student council at 4 p.m. online. So this is kind of how we're going to go forward, and I just want to put it on here so everyone kind of knows what's going on. For years, we've been using the Hope God. We help people with a tool to share the gospel. We overcome our fears of sharing the gospel. We prepare other students to share the gospel, and then we engage the entire school with the hope of Christ. So next year is supposed to be EPIC, E-P-I-C, which is kind of the same concept, but it's a little bit different. But this year had amazing things in Hope God, so I hope that we pull some of those tools out of there. But for the next month or two, instead of trying to do the Hope God online, as someone like Boyle County just released another one today, Boyle County High School, and I know the middle school's working on one right now. So I know those schools right now are releasing those interactive videos, which are amazing right now with students, and they're sharing them with other students. We're going to kind of transition. We're going to transition to something for the next couple months or till we can be back in person. It's called Your Story Matters. It's an initiative. It's Your Story Matters. You matter. Your story matters. How did you find Christ? What obstacle did you overcome? And how is your life with Christ now? And it's not just you getting behind the camera. It's actually going to be interviewed. The first one's going to be done with me and one of the students from Boyle County. And I'm working with them this week, so that way we'll be able to release that here in 2 weeks, if not next week. So we're going to do the Your Story Matters initiative, and it's going to be an interview with somebody that takes them all the way through before they knew Christ, what happened in their life, and then what is their life with Christ now, or if they've been a Christ follower all their life. Basically, when they had that the age of understanding, what helped them understand what sin was, when did they acknowledge Christ as their personal Lord and Savior, and what is their life now. So we'll have those out every single week. We're going to get that out to as many personal. It's kind of like a personal testimony, but it's done through an interview. And it's called Your Story Matters. So that's an initiative that we're doing right now. We're going to try to get that at the national level, definitely on all of our story meters, because you do matter, and your story, your student story does matter. So, so we're going to try to get that out. That's going to be discussed here on Sunday at 4 p.m. on our meeting. And along with that, I'm going to release probably a 3 or 4 video on the 7 types of leadership. Now, if we were student leaders in ministry is hard and leadership is hard. So we're going to release videos in the next couple of weeks on the 7 types of leaders. Now, some say that there's more than 7 styles. Some say there's only three styles. But what I'm using is the commanders and first sergeants leadership guide from the military, all the styles that they've seen, multiple books. I'm not going to name all the authors right now on leadership. Greg Rochelle comes up with 6 styles of leadership. We're going to use some of his stuff. We're going to use a lot of scripture on what Christ says, on how to be, what he defines as a leader, and the leadership style that Jesus had. So the next few weeks we're going to have understand the 7 styles of leadership, but not just, or the 7 types. And I know Maxwell's got the 5 styles, and he also has the 16 qualities of a leader, but we're going to talk about the seven types of leadership. Alongside with that, all the student leaders, the representatives from each school, are going to have the opportunity to look at John Maxwell's. We've partnered with John Maxwell. It's a 16 qualities of a leader. So we're going to teach the student representatives on how to take back to their school and teach other students the 16 qualities of leadership. So when we're in ministry, we're in ministry leadership. Not that we're going to be perfect at it. I have failed many times as a leader and grown from that. Great learning curve. Some call it your tuition for learning. And I've failed many ways as a leader. But we're going to be able to recognize these 7 leadership styles. We're going to recognize the 16 qualities of being a leader through the I Choose curriculum. Now, these are going to be students teaching other students the 16 qualities of being a leader. So I know that's a lot, but some of this is going to lead up to our SLU, Student Leadership University. For those of you going to camp this summer, and the ones that want to go to camp this summer, please let me know. We'd love to get you involved, and if there's sponsorships out there, get you sponsored. But I know that this is a lot of information, and a lot of students are like, I'm not doing well in school, and I'm at home, and I'm not adjusting well. This COVID has really messed up everything. I know this is a lot. But I also know that God chose you to be a student leader, to be a missionary, and that is our number one purpose in life. Our number one purpose is to share the hope of Christ to others, is to share the gospel of Jesus to the entire world. So we're just going to help you with that so you can identify. And if you will embrace it, my campus coaches, if you would just come alongside them, and I know it's extra work, but just mentor them and encourage them and be there for them and answer questions and just kind of share what you've learned for leadership to help groom these student missionaries in these schools. That would be amazing. But student leaders, I need you to just kind of take a step back and just take a deep breath. And it's really not that complicated. Just to kind of hear and share with others this new leadership training program while we're at home and while we can't be in school and while we can't be interactive. So in the end, you learn what kind of leader Jesus was, what kind of leader that Jesus wants you to be, how to be a leader in ministry, how to share the hope of Christ with your entire school, what to do when getting discouraged, what to do when other people come to you with problems, that you're going to be kind of aware of how to deal with those things. So that's going to teach you how to become a better leader. Now, not reason just to do this, but when you do complete the Your Story Matters and your faith story, and when you do watch the initial training program, there's a certificate. You can get 3 certificates for each one, and I'd encourage all the student leaders to get to complete all 3 programs to get the student certificate. You don't have to do it all in 1 week. It takes a little time. But that's kind of your goal for those that you know, want some reward for all your work. We definitely appreciate you, and we'd love to certify you in each one of those areas. So COVID has made it hard on all of us, but let's take it to our advantage. Let's learn about these 7 leadership styles, the 16 qualities of a leader. Let's learn how to share a faith story. Your story matters. And so be a part of the Your Story Matters initiative. Let's have a different person every single week share their testimony, not just for your school, but for all the schools in our in Heritage Club. So that's just a quick message I have for 2021. I know that's a lot, but this year's not over. We still got 5 months that we get to be in schools. We still got all these Your Story Matters initiative, your testimony to get out there. So there's a lot still going on. So I hope you had a great new year, a very Merry Christmas, and I look so forward to seeing the student leaders and the campus coaches that can participate this Sunday at 4. Thank you for tuning in, and God bless.